Okay, so this meeting's being digitally recorded. All right, so where we left off last time was a brief discussion regarding the possibility of the town purchasing Jan's Garage um, as an option to save significant amount of money. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about that, and I think Bill, you had mentioned something about a lease agreement or something. I haven't seen that. So I don't know if you can expand on that a little bit. Oh, you're muted, Bill.
Well, that makes it hard to talk, doesn't
It does.
it? Dave Nixon put that public bid offer out on the street, and I don't really know any of the details about it. But it seems as though they're looking for an alternative place to Breezy Corners for the fire department. The timing's kind of odd for us, anyway.
Right.
As I recall, Jan said in the next year or two,
Right.
and I don't know what the time span on this request for leases, but I mean, leasing it to own it or leasing it isn't such a bad idea.
What he explained in our finance meeting the other night is because the lease is due to be renewed for the Breezy Corners,
Mhm.
that the fact that it's going, it has to go through the bid process. And
I see.
that's why that came up.
Okay, so that's actually, they're putting it out for Breezy Corners to renew.
Yep,
They're not actually looking for fresh property.
right.
Okay.
Well, that's good clarification.
Now, Katie, if you're there, did you guys have any discussion on the Board of Selectmen regarding the, I'm sure this is brought over to you through the town interim administrator, any discussion regarding looking at Jan's property for public safety?
No, we haven't had any discussion on that. The
Okay,
first bit was last month at this meeting.
okay,
So I haven't heard anything other than what I've heard from you guys on what you are looking at for different things.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows, the planning board approved the marijuana grow facility at the stove shop next door to Jan's last Thursday. Not that that impacts anything. It's going to have an 8-foot tall fence with a nylon screen around it and all sorts of other things, but it would be located next door. He's got 6 acres almost, and a lot of junk cars.
yeah. And is there still, well, that's not really next to Jan's, but there's supposed to be a storage facility going into on 68.
Yeah, that's south of Breezy Corners, next to the pallet factory.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the rumor is that next to that will be the vet, a vet or the vet in town will be building a facility next to that.
Okay. So all on 68 there.
Right. The
Okay.
commercial district.
All right.
Yep.
So Katie, I guess we need some guidance as to, how the select board wants us to take this. I know that Ryan wanted, a presentation at the town meeting this year regarding this, the possibility of, this coming up next year. Have you guys talked at all about a timeline or a charge or anything that, because we're kind of in a holding pattern, right? We have a really expensive building that needs to go. There's the possibility of maybe making it significantly cheaper and more palatable to the town if we can get Jan's, but I don't think we can, we can make a decision on that and give that to the Board of Selectmen in the next 3 weeks. So,
No. I can't see how you guys could get that together in the next 3 weeks either.
right.
Realistically, yeah,
I guess we could do a presentation, but we don't have John's permission. And his timeline is a year to 2 years. So that
Right.
would be premature on our part. Yeah.
Right. But I would
Yeah.
hate to go down the road of starting to, 'cause I mean, that's an exciting opportunity that would possibly, get us somewhere without having to shell out 10 to 12 million dollars, which, is going to be a hard lift for a lot of people, as we discussed in previous meetings. So, do we kick the can down the road 6 months or a year, or do we, keep driving forward with plans? And because as Bill said, plans to build a public safety building is going to be looking at, what, $250,000 or so plus, based on the the cost of the building. So, I guess we need some direction from the town about what direction you guys want us to head at this point, and what do you want us to do at town meeting, and what scope of presentation you want us to give, if any.
Okay, so here are my questions. My first question is, have you actually talked to the fire department about what their needs are, and like things like, would John's Auto actually work? Because
Yes.
by knowledge, they looked at it before, and there were some extenuating circumstances that they thought why it wouldn't work. Now, I don't want to get in the middle of all that and everything and hash out like all these, other problems, but my suggestion would be, I just feel like the chief should be kind of brought in on that. And then the other thing was, has Jamie Pitney reached out to you at all, Mike, about?
No.
No. Okay. So we were talking at the Boy Scout meeting the other day, and he showed me an email from, I don't know, council somewhere. And it was about council was having work done for a much lower rate by the Army Corps of Engineers. And the Army Corps of Engineers is looking for more projects, apparently. And I don't know all the details about that. He was supposed to reach out to you. He thought that possibly maybe this might be an option of getting something built at a much lower dollar amount. How true that is and how realistic it is, I have no idea, but it's worth investigating, because if we can get something for cheaper that's the same quality, then that'd be awesome. And then number 3 is, wasn't there a whole bunch of plans that were already drawn up for new buildings? Not that I'm not saying the whole John thing or finding a property already built isn't the way to go, but I'm just saying, didn't we already have plans drawn up from before? Dan said that there were. Do you have those?
We do.
Okay. All right. So you have plans already drawn up. You're looking at John's, and then the other thing, like I said, would be out to Jamie Pitney about whether or not something could possibly be done with the Army Corps of Engineers. So I understand I don't think there's a way to present a realistic anything right now in 3 weeks. I don't. You'd be throwing out things and it'd be just random gibberish, and that's not what we want to do. We don't want to go random and all throw things out that either A, don't make sense, or dollar amounts that won't make sense, or ideas that won't make sense. You guys need to, I would suggest, what I would like to see is a couple options, whether it's, okay, we buy this property and this will work, and that's phase 1, and then for the fire department, and then the police can go here or whatever, so we can figure out all these buildings, phase 1, 2, and 3, or we look at building new. I would like at least 2 options of something. And realistically, I think we might be having a fall town meeting. We usually do. So I don't know if we could aim for something more along those lines with realistic plans. Maybe, fingers crossed.
Well, we've had multiple sets of plans. I mean, there's been plans drawn up like every 10 years for some kind of public safety building. So in the files, there's plan upon plan upon plan. The latest was my last year on the board, which was like 2 years ago. There was 3 options drawn up. There was a public safety building, there was a public safety plus a community center, and public safety plus community center and town hall drawings done. So they're not engineering, or architectural drawings. They're simply just plans, rough plans of what a building would look like in the space required. So, I mean, we have all that already. What we need from town meeting would be obviously approval, moving forward as a town to actually draw the plan, like draw, engineering plans, which then you're looking into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we obviously are not anywhere near that level right now that we're ready for. So we have plans. We have option A, B, and C. I mean, this has kind of been talked about year after year. You know, you build a public safety building, you get the police out of there, and then the next domino that falls is the Slade building um, can get refurbished. And we talked about using some marijuana money for that, because that money is coming in for some indeterminate amount of time. So we're going to use marijuana money to pay for that 5 years. By rehabbing the Slade building, then you move stuff out of the library, and then the library gets rehab with grants. So we kind of have the timeline already. We just don't really know kind of what the board wants us to do with the town regarding I guess presentation, or I mean, we've presented this all before to the town over and over. So this is nothing new, and we can certainly do it again. You know, with Jan's thing, I have not spoken to either of the chiefs regarding Jan's proposal at all, because we don't have a proposal. But I'd be happy to talk to Bob and see, you know, what I think it would mainly be a fire department over there. We talked about fire department building a police department over at the land we own on 68, because the bulk of the cost of the building is going to be the fire department, not necessarily police administrative offices. So, you know, I can certainly talk to Bob and see what his concerns are. But, you know, if we really want to go down that, and Jan really wants to pursue that, I think we have to have some kind of engineer or architectural person to come in and actually, you know, say that it will work or not work. Because, you know, I don't know if myself or you, or, you know, other than Bill, you know, or Bob, would have the knowledge to go in and say this will or won't work based on things. I mean, Bill can probably go in and do that, but, you know, I wouldn't trust me and Bob and you walking through to say, oh, this is great, or no, this isn't good. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of where we are. We have plans. We've even during the course of our capital discussions throughout this year, we've discussed extensively about how to pay for some of the upgrades to buildings, and you know, the dominoes that need to fall, which again is not a new thing for this. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, we can put together a short presentation. I mean, Charles has the pamphlet he sent around today that was passed out a couple years ago. We can make some updates to it on it and
I
pass
don't
that
really
out.
need to.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, as the chief said, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed other than I think a couple of dates. I saw a couple of things on there, like a date or something was off. So
Mhm.
just cross it out and put a new year. So yes, that's kind of where we are. I mean, we don't. Oh, yeah, sorry, there's Francois. All right. Francois always has good stuff to add. So let's see.
That's true.
Apologies, I started late because I did not check my email.
Hi, Francois. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So you probably heard some of this stuff. We were just kind of talking with Katie about, you know, we know what needs to be done. We know the processes that need to be done, but I guess at what point are we at, and at what point does the select board want us to be at to make a presentation now or in the fall? And what are we presenting to the town? Because, you know, we've presented this, you know, this has been presented in some way or another for many years. The need for
Sure.
public safety, and, you know, the Slade building getting renovated, and the library moving out and getting grants and everything. So this is nothing new. So that's kind of where we were, is kind of figuring out what is the next step that they want us to do.
Well, quick question. I mean, I was not part of the last meeting that you had with Jan Janssen. I
Yep.
do understand that he attended. And I did have a chat with him afterwards, and he did mention that he was very positive in terms of the types of questions that were being asked of him, specifically with regards to his building. And I know that he currently is in Iceland and will probably be coming back in the late summer. He has some work that he's doing over there. I think he did also receive I know he received from me the mail that was forwarded to me by Bill. And for a period of time, he was very confused about that, because he was under the impression this was more sort of like a 2-3 year project. And I think upon further conversations, it is my understanding that this lease request that came about was only because of the fact that the current lease where they're at right now is expiring, and they need to do something uh, from a regulatory perspective, that they have to submit these here as an open bid, and that's why he would have received it. I don't think he's interested in a short-term lease, to say the least. But I think he is certainly interested in what that happened in the discussion the last time around. And from what I see in terms of the building that he has there, and I don't know, I mean, Bill, you may have had some additional views of this here, but it did sound like there may be some very good opportunities there. I know that the town has land, I mean, that's a given. But the infrastructure that is potentially there and the ability to expand it to the point where it could be a fully functional fire station, minimally fully functional fire station, is certainly something that I think is something worth considering, and then also assess the costs, right? So.
So I do have an idea here. One of the things we want to do is we want to present to the town kind of a plan of action.
Mhm.
And we could say phase one, we have a phase 1A and a phase 1B. We'd have to have John sign on to it, where we would say there is an option to move the fire department into Yon's in the foreseeable future. We should continue to look at that and plan for it. Phase 1B would be a combined public safety facility on the town-owned land across from the pallet factory, and say, these are our options we're still investigating. And then we go to phase 2, which is, move the police out of the Slade, renovate the Slade. And phase 3 is the library. We just reiterate that those are the things that we're looking at. And that's the presentation. We don't go into dollars and cents because we can't. We don't know.
I guess one question that I have is from a requirements perspective, do we have a full set of requirements that we can come back and say, look, based on the equipment, the personnel that we need, the potential future expansion in the town, this is what we actually need, and be able to assess if that requirement could potentially be met by the existing infrastructure that is at 60 Gardner Road, right, which is Yon's place. And if not, then we can discount that right off the bat, and then make a pitch only for the other facility. However, if we know that the square footage, the number of bays, the capacity, the infrastructure, whatever else is adequate, or maybe even great in terms of what potentially Yon has, then I think it's worth exploring that and make sure that he's also aware of what we're looking for, and see whether or not that can potentially be met with some enhancements. Because I do know that he had some interest in also discussing the ability to work on the facility to make it much more attractive for a fire station to potentially be sited there.
Yeah, no, Katie had the comment that we need to grab Bob, the fire chief, and drag him down there and say, what are your concerns?
I'd say that that's probably a good thing. The only thing, though, is that since Yon is not there, that probably will not happen until maybe the earliest, sometime around the August timeframe.
Oh, I think we can figure it out from walking around.
Well, but that means that we would have to have permission to be there and go there.
Yeah, well, it's not posted, so we could actually walk on the property. I know those rules.
Okay. I'm not.
No, it would be a
I'm not
courtesy
informed yet.
to tell
Yeah,
him that we're doing it, but I don't think if we could reach him in Iceland and just get a courtesy, can we walk around?
Yeah. I know his wife is still here. She's here until at least mid-month.
Because, well, we can't go in front of town meeting in June unless we have their consent to actually mention that their property is being considered and those kind of things. We just should not stand in front of town meeting unless he said.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we are not ready for spring town meeting.
That's also one thing, and I mean that maybe the first time that this can be potentially be presented would be in the fall town meeting, right? Which is usually in around the October timeframe, is it? September, October.
Yeah, and I think that's fair that we, I think we have a little more due due diligence with Jan. I mean, Jan's was kind of we could have presented our other plan, I think, because that's pretty well thought out. But Jan's threw a little wrinkle in it, which is an interesting wrinkle. So I do
Yeah.
think we need to do our due diligence
Yep.
over the next couple of months, especially with him being gone. Get Bob down there. He can open the garage up. We can walk through with Bob and Bill, and really give a good look at this and see, is this a viable thing or not?
Yeah. I mean, I do understand that he has some concerns right now, and the concerns are primarily is that he is making strides and efforts at making the place more presentable. He has already eliminated quite a few of the items that he has in the back. He continues to do that. And his big concern is that I think, and this is from talking with him, is that if somebody came in there right now, they would look at it with a very prejudiced eye because of the fact that it is a garage. And so I think that might be the only drawback that he may present if somebody went there at this point in time. I still
Yeah.
think that whoever comes there, even a person like a Bob, can look at the potential and not just not be fooled by all of the material that is there. And
Right.
they can probably see that, right?
We need to look at the bones. We need to look at the structure and see that it is capable of supporting the need and being expanded where we need it to be expanded.
Okay.
Need to wander out back to make sure to see what the amount of work would be if we needed to do a drive-through. I can tell you right now, the town can't buy it without a 21E, which is a hazardous waste assessment, because of all the junk cars out back. We just can't.
I certainly understand that, and that's probably one of the first things he would want to make sure is that he can remove all of those vehicles so that a 21E can be executed there, because you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that if there's still vehicles in the back there.
Correct.
And that's probably one of the things that he would have to entertain making that happen. Here's one thing I could do is I could communicate with his wife Linda. See until when she's there. Who has the best connection with Bob?
Oh, we all do.
Okay, I don't know him. That's why I was asking. I've met him, but I've never really spoken with him. If you can tell me what his thoughts are in terms from an availability perspective, he may even have been there before. I don't know if he has ever been there as a personal client or car repairs, or if he's done any kind of other assessments there as a fire chief. It would be interesting to know if he has some availability. In the meantime, I can certainly talk to Linda Johnson and get back to the board. I'm sorry, to this committee.
Yeah, I can interface with Bob if you'd like, and obviously I'll keep everyone in the loop, but I'll interface with him and see when he has some time. I mean, he works Monday through Friday, so I imagine he's probably available anytime during the week.
Okay.
To go. So.
Okay, I can try to establish contact very soon. If you wish, you can shoot me an email at the email address that we have with Hubbardson, and let me know what you find out, Michael.
Sure, will do.
Or Bill, whoever reaches first.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. So the two of us aren't emailing him.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of an interesting thing that we would have a marijuana growing facility next to a public safety building. The irony does not escape me.
It's the new normal, right?
Right. Right.
The other question, I guess, would be is your thought, and this is maybe more a question for Bill, is your thought that the whole property would be required or just the front part?
I don't know what use the rear part would be.
I'm sorry?
It's got the rear part of the property has got DCR in it. So it really doesn't have any value either to him or to us.
Okay.
So it's the inner and it's the outer DCR protective zone. So it's 400 feet from the back line. And that touches the back of the marijuana place, as you know. And to the north, that's also Bracco. And there's a stream over there too. So it's pretty well boxed in. He really only has something like 2.5 acres of usable land.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, just to know. So are you saying that he has wetlands in the back?
and to the north on Bratko's property. So there's a cart path. If you go just past Jan's, you can look down the cart path, which is what Bratko uses to get to the back of his land, and you can see the wetlands pretty clearly back there.
Those are on Mr. Bracco's property, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not on Jan's property.
I don't know that he has wetlands, but he has the buffer zones on his land, the
Okay.
DCR buffer zone,
And those would extend how many feet into his property?
400 feet.
That's from the limit of the wetland?
Pretty much.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So,
But, you know,
and he's got the house there, which really doesn't contribute to a police or a fire station, but might be able to be converted.
Well, I think to your point, I mean, it has bones. And
Yeah,
it has a
the-
basement, it has sanitary facilities. I'm not saying that it as is, it would be used, but it certainly has, it has a full basement. And I know that there's an infrastructure there that potentially could be leveraged and utilized also.
Right.
And converted.
Yep, yep.
Okay, very good. All right, well, Michael, if you wish to get back to me on what
Sure.
you find out, I'll try to find whatever I can on my end.
Will do. All right. So then the action item for tonight then for Katie is, I don't think we're going to present anything at the Springtown meeting, if you guys are all in agreement with that. I think we're ready for that. We're just going to confuse people.
I think so too.
And if you can bring back to the select board that our plan is to talk to Bob, the fire chief, and to Jan and see if we can get a group through there. Maybe, if we can get 1 or 2 selectmen, we'll get 2 of us from here and Bob, and we'll kind of tour the facility and see what's going on, and if this is something that we can pursue. If it is, then it's, it'll be the 1A proposal we have. If it's not, then we kind of fall back to our original proposal. So I think that's what maybe you can take the select board when you guys meet.
Okay, yeah, we have a meeting on Monday. I can definitely bring this up. I'm pretty free during the day, and evenings, except for all these meetings. But if you want a selectman to show up to tour the facility, I will gladly show up. That's fine. And also make sure you get a hold of Jamie Pitney, just in case you got to go with Plan B, because I think that might be a nice little rabbit hole to try to dive down into.
All right, let me write down Jamie, or I'm going to forget Jamie. All right, Jamie.
Yeah. Jamie, because I know he's going to forget to email you because it's been over a week and he hasn't reached out before.
Yeah.
That's
no,
rotten.
all right. So I don't think we have anything else to discuss unless anybody else on the CIPC has anything they want to bring forward.
No, the only item I just wanted to bring is I do know that the elections are coming up soon, and after that, we may have a different composition of the CIPC, right?
No, the CIPC is an appointed board from the Board of Selectmen. We have a 3-year appointment, so we're not elected.
You do, but remember that myself, I am.
Oh, that's right.
I'm-
Okay.
Yep, so I'm not. And depending, I mean, I still am part of the board, but I do hope that they, as a board, will continue to ask me to participate in this here, but I cannot guarantee that, okay?
Okay. But you're a strong contributor, Francois. So I hope you stay. Are you up for?
No, my intention is to, but again, it's not, I do not appoint myself.
Right.
It is the board who appoints me. I just want to make sure that you're clear on that, okay?
Okay.
Well, it's the same way from the finance committee, but no one
Correct.
else wants to do it, so I'll be doing it.
No, you're not up for your re-election, Francois, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
It's just that once the new board gets together, they then typically they ask for volunteers, which is what I have done so in the past. And so I don't think there should be any issue.
No, I fully expect to see you here in a couple of weeks again.
Okay.
And
That's one of the-
Francois, I think that there's space on the board for another at-large member anyway.
I'm sorry?
I think there might be space on the board for another at-large member if you,
For the
If-
CIPC?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't-
Well,
I don't know, but maybe.
Well, we'll see. Be
All
interesting
right.
to have two planning board people then on the board list. You've been adopted into the planning board anyway, right, Bill?
Oh, no,
Mm.
I get paid.
No, I understand. It's just, you're like the adopted son
Yeah,
of the team there.
All right, so do you want a motion to adjourn then?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, so motion to adjourn at 7:33, all in favor?
Aye.